Welcome to my channel. This channel will be for intuitive reads, and this is my first intuitive reads. Guides, spirits, what have you got to tell us? Please forgive the light. So we have low current where I am, and so the light to be flickering, and I'm still figuring out how to go about this as time goes on. We'll find our way, So when I picked up the cards and I was about to do this reading, the one thing that came into mind was focus on yourself. Now we have the Knight of Wands at the bottom of the deck. And before then, the first time I pressed play, we had the King of Swords at the bottom of the deck. And I was like, oh, King of Swords, and I was King of Swords, and I was going to continue speaking, but that parts of us as humans that make us second guess ourselves. We second guess ourselves. We know what we're supposed to do. We know that we're supposed to follow our intuition. We know that it is supposed to be heart over mind, or heart over ego, or heart over logic. We know we're supposed to follow our intuition, but for some reason we just feel like we should second guess, we should double check, that thing in us that wants us to be 100% accurate, that thing in us that wants everything to be perfect, everything to be okay before we take the step, everything, every plan, and all the I's have to be dotted and all the T's have to be crossed before we take a step, So focus on yourself is what I got. And the second thing that I got is just start. It's crazy because this is exactly the same thing that I'm doing right now. And if there's one thing that I've realized over the years, the one beautiful thing that I've realized over the years is that because I have a podcast where I speak, when I speak on my podcast and I put it out there, I come back later and I listen to the podcast and I realize that there's always a message in there for me. It's not just putting it out there. It's also like when I write, or sometimes when people come to me and I speak to them. In the process of speaking to them, helping them get through whatever it is that they need help getting through, I find that whatever it is that I tell them, I find that there's also a message in there for me as well. So, welcome, guys. I like to go by the name of Pepe, and this is your okay. I haven't finished speaking, and this is what we have again. Here we have the Knight of Swords. This is your intuitive reading. We have invited spirits. I hope this is going to be a short one, but we'll see how that goes. I told myself that okay, I'm going to do this. I have to have an in-depth understanding of what the cards say by heart. Then I now told myself that I have to be a pro at shuffling. I watched other tarot readers and I see how they shuffle, and I'm like, if my shuffling is not perfect, how do I know that this is the right cards? How do I know, just that this is like normal stuff. So I think the Lovers is crazy. It's really, really crazy, but let's go. So I'm going to shuffle. Okay. Wow. I'm going to shuffle. Okay. So I'm asked to stop. Ooh, sit with me. I hope you guys can see the cards that are coming out here. go. Sit with me on this one. Okay. So I think I would stop here. We have the Queen of Pentacles. So I hope you guys can see these cards. So we have the Lovers, the Devil, Eight of Pentacles. We have the Queen of Pentacles, and we have the Two of Swords and the Queen of Swords. Remember, I said when the first time I shuffled the cards, or rather the first time that I pressed record, at the bottom of the deck we had the King of Swords, but I was gonna go with my intuition. But I decided, you know what? Let me check this. Let me be sure. Let me know that what I'm giving these people is the truth, even if we have decided to just do it and we have decided to go with our intuition. So I think I would call it the general energy for this reading is the Lover. And it's crazy because this represents duality, partnerships, the feminine and the masculine. And most people, immediately they see this Lover's card. Of course, partnerships, feminine, masculine, relationship. But me, I like to see it as the partnership between your intuition and your ego or your mind. Remember, at the beginning of the reading, I explained how, our mind or our ego, when we're supposed to be following our intuition and we're supposed to do what we are supposed to do, but we keep on second guessing, we keep on doubting, we keep on trying to make sure that everything is put in place. We keep on trying to make sure that all the I's have been dotted and all the T's have been crossed. But no, that place of doubting, that place of second guessing is where dreams go to die. It is where dreams go to die, because it is almost a space or a stage of analysis paralysis. Look at me using all these buzzwords. It's a state of analysis paralysis, and you spend your time second guessing, doubting instead of integrating, because when they say ego death, don't live from your ego, lead from the heart and all that. When they say ego death, you don't totally or completely get rid of your ego. It's part of you. Your shadow self is part of you. You don't fear, anger, pain, jealousy. All these things are emotions that are termed negative emotions, and these are emotions that people don't like to relate with. And when you begin the journey of remembrance back to self, and you begin to face these shadow selves of yours, you begin to go through the journey of ego death and all whatnot. You don't kill it totally, because guess what? In this reality, or in this plane that we're in, everything exists in duality. Everything exists in duality. So you don't get rid of one part in favor of the other part. But the whole idea is for you to get yourself acquainted, for you to get yourself acquainted with your shadow and your light self, for you to get yourself acquainted with your feminine and your masculine self, for you to get yourself acquainted with the way that the mind, logic, the ego works, and also get yourself acquainted with the heart. For you to get yourself acquainted with the heart, finding a middle ground and coming into balance. So it is really beautiful. It is really beautiful because it is in line with what I said at the start of this reading, and it is in line. It's little wonder this is the general energy, trusting your intuition, listening to your intuition, giving your intuition the chance to come to the driver's seat, giving your intuition the chance to come to the front burner, and working hand in hand. Because at the end of the day, in the world that we live in, logic also matters. Critical thinking matters. So merging your intuition, the spirit, and your logic, the ego, the mind, working together in balance, in harmony, in unison, hand in hand. That, I believe, that is the recipe for this thing that we call life going forward. Wow, I love this. I really, really, really do love this. So after that, we have the devil. And in this card of the devil, the one thing that that is we have both the masculine and the feminine, and they are before some form of, will I say, authority, more like more like the light and the dark. Speaking of integrating your shadow and your light self, so you can see forgive me guys, my phone. So you can see this is an authority or an entity. It has wings. This one has wings. This one has both hands up, this one hand down. You see the female and the male. In this point, the female is looking up. But here they are, you can see this chain. And in the tarot, the devil card, it stands for addiction, deception, and materialism, playfulness. But what speaks out to me in this reading is the playfulness part and the addiction part, and also the materialism part. Because remember, materialism part in terms of, everything has to be perfect before I start. Everything has to be in place. I need to have my mic. I need to have my tripod. I need to be able to shuffle perfectly. I need to be able to have, know all the cards by heart and understand what it means by heart, forgetting that the tarot, the card, it is a tool to help us communicate with our divine self, with our higher self, with our intuition, and also the addiction part. You're addicted to perfectionism. You are addicted to questioning. You're addicted to second guessing, to doubting. But in all, for me, playfulness, which it is something that I'm trying to remember how to do. Playfulness, for me, it is kind of like the theme around my life right now, and just like I said, you don't totally and completely get rid of your shadow. You familiarize yourself with your shadow, and you incorporate it, it doesn't have power over you, but at the end of the day, you have power over it, and you incorporate that shadow with your light and walk hand in hand in balance and in harmony. And one of the way for us to do that is playfulness. Go back, learn how to play. That is one thing that we can learn from the shadow, which is the devil. That is one thing you can learn from your shadow. Playfulness, you learn how to play. Resuscitate and revive your, is that revive or what's this English word? Revive, not revive. Revive your ability to play. Because it is in playfulness. It is in playfulness and curiosity that you learn. Because in the this is the Eight of Pentacles. And in the Eight of Pentacles in the tarot stands for apprenticeship, passion, and high standards. It is in playfulness. It is in playfulness that you have the ability to learn. Now, you are not putting pressure on yourself. You are not focused on the results. Instead, you are just doing. You are just being, which is also one of the good recipes for life. You are just being. Is more on the process than the result. And when you immerse yourself in the process, when you play and you just do and you just be without thinking, it makes you a good apprentice. It gives you it gives you the opportunity. It gives you, sorry guys, forgive me. It gives you the opportunity to, how would I put it? That way you can easily find your passion. In today's world, what is my passion? But how would you know what your passion is? How would you know what you are passionate about if you don't allow yourself to play? How would you know the standards that you want to live your life by? How would you learn? Because if you look at children and how they live their lives, they don't question, they play and they learn. And for some reason, if it is not working, they move on to the next one and the next one and the next one till they find what they like. And that can only be achieved in the spirit of play. You can only know what your passion is if you allow yourself to play. You can only know what your standard is if in the process you play and you try and you try and you try your hand at different things. The lessons from those multiple things and those different things will help you realize that this is what I like. This is one thing that has been consistent in these different paths that I have treaded, So yes. Now, over here we have the Three of Cups. And in the tarot, the Three of Cups stands for friendship, community, and happiness. I mean, if we look at this card, it's pretty self-explanatory. We see the general energy for the reading and what comes right after it. It's, that is the thing that I've come to realize. And I believe that is why I love the tarot. If we even go from the beginning to the end of the tarot, you see that it is a story. It tells a story about a journey. Life is a journey. Life is a journey. And that is the beautiful thing about the tarot. It tells a story, a journey. And imagine, just start incorporating your shadow, allowing yourself to play, which then allows you to be able to be an apprentice. It allows you to play, try your hands at different things, be an apprentice, you find your passion and you know what your standards are. And guess what? Look at what comes next. The Three of Cups. It's a card for friendship, a card for community, and a card for happiness. Please, guys, forgive my light. The current is low, it's fluctuating. I mean, need I say more? When you walk through this journey, when you are able to find yourself, you're able to find your passion. Now you know what you like. Now you know what you don't like. The next thing that comes is happiness, fulfillment, community. Allowing yourself to just be and allowing yourself to just flow opens you up to like-minded individuals. Like-minded individuals that are at the same depth, emotional depth, intellectual depth, frequency depth, intuitive depth, and you're happy. Because at the end of the day, we humans, I strongly believe, are communal beings. At the end of the day, as a human being, we all have that innate, that deep need for belonging. And as much as we say, validate yourself, your validation does not come from outside. You can't wait for other people to validate you. As much as we say that, which is also good, but isn't it beautiful? Isn't it lovely? Isn't it nice when our external world reflects our inner world? Isn't it lovely? So yes. And we move to the Queen of Pentacles. I love this. I truly, truly love this. When I began shuffling, remember the beginning, I didn't know how this was going to go. But when you allow spirits, your intuition take the lead, you will be amazed. And when we find our community and we integrate that, it brings us to the Queen of Pentacles. And the Queen of Pentacles in the tarot stands for practicality, creative comfort, and financial security. You are comfortable in your own skin. You are comfortable in your own skin because you have integrated your shadow and your light self, and you have allowed yourself the light of heart. You have become as playful as a child, so you are able to explore your creative endeavors. You are able to we have supporting sounds, which is the fowl. You are able to play, and you are able to try your hands and play in different things. So you have found your passion. Now you know what your standards are, and that has brought you community happiness. And then you have financial stability or security. And you are also now secure and comfortable in your creative endeavors. You are also now secure and comfortable in your creative gifts. And you are more practical. You don't second guess. You don't doubt. You don't look for signs that are not there. You don't chase things that are beyond your control. You are aware of what is right in front of you and what your heart says, and you work accordingly. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? And once you achieve that, we come into the Two of Swords in reverse. In the tarot, the Two of Swords stands for difficult choices, indecision, stalemate. When reversed, it stands for lesser of two evils, no right choice, confusion. You see, confusion again. lesser of two evils, no right choice. Who says you have to choose? This card just goes to reiterate what we have been saying all along in the beginning of this reading with this and this. Who says you have to choose? And there's something that in recent times, I think it started from last year to this point, that I began to make peace with and understand, is that morals actually is peculiar to individuals, the environment in which they come from, and whatever values that it is that they hold. And for you, in order for you to push through in life and make it in life and to achieve some things, you have to understand that the morals that work for you might not work for the next man. What is bad for you, it might be, what the next man upholds in his morals. Kind of like one man's food is another man's poison. So who says you have to choose? Who says that you have to choose between light and dark, good and evil? You make a choice. Sometimes it still goes back to what I was trying to say. Sometimes, because we tell ourselves that we want to make the right choice, you want to get all the facts right, you want to see into every possible outcomes, you're stuck, you don't make a move, you're delayed. But at the end of the day, choices are just what they are. Choices are just what they are. Choices. You make the choice and you move ahead. You make the choice and you move ahead. Who says you have to choose? Why not incorporate? Why not find the right balance? I believe that this reading is pretty self-explanatory. I'm not even done. But, the cards are already speaking. And that brings us to the Queen of Swords in reverse. And the Queen of Swords in reverse, or the Queen of Swords in the tarot, stands for complexity, perceptiveness, clear-minded. But reversed, it gives cold-hearted, cruel, and bitterness. Need I say more? Remember, addiction, playfulness. And remember what I said. For you to unlock your gifts, you have to have the mind of a child. Open up your heart. But if you choose to still be in your logic, in your mind, and you keep on walking away from your heart, the spirit, the intuition, then it hardens. You continue to keep looking for the fault. It's not perfect. Then you become bitter, because what happens is that once you stay long in indecisiveness, once you stay long trying to gather everything, trying to be perfect, and you don't make a decision, you are not moving forward, you don't make a choice, you are not moving forward, you are stuck, you are stagnated, and that causes you to be bitter. You become cruel. You blame everybody but yourself. You get into the mindset of it's working out for everybody but me. People are after me. People are against me. My enemies. But forgetting that you are the one holding yourself back. You are the one holding yourself back. Because at the end of the day, a choice is just a choice, but it keeps you moving forward. But when you just keep juggling, this is what you get. This is where we stopped reading. I'm so happy. For a first public reading, this this has been so insightful. Even to me, I've learned a lot. Focus on your heart and just do it. I think that is the slogan for Nike. Just do it. This is the message of the day. This is the message of the day. I am Pepe. Please subscribe to my channel. I am still working on this. I don't know how it works, but when I can understand how it works, there will be a channel. You can speak to me. You can ask me questions. You can consult with me, and also I can give personal readings. Thank you so much and have an awesome life. I love you. Bye. Mwah.